Welcome to Sleeping with Sarah. I'm Sarah Albritton, a narcoleptic comedian, and this is a podcast where I interview people in my bed and we talk about sleep, comedy, and relationships. This week I interviewed Jonathan Giles. He's a comedian originally from Chicago, now lives in LA. You can check out his podcast, Blurs with Friends, on iTunes and wherever you listen to your podcasts. You can also follow Jonathan on Twitter at jgilescomedy. We talked a lot about relationships and comedy and sugar daddies and other random things like that. I almost felt like he was interviewing me at some points. We also talked a little bit about narcolepsy and my upcoming project as well. You can catch me upcoming this Monday night and pretty much every Monday night at I.O. in Chicago for POV, directed by Michael McCarthy at 7 p.m. at the Jason Shin Theater. Sleeping with Sarah is brought to you by Audible.com. Go to audibletrial.com/sleepingwithsarah to get a free audiobook of your choice. This week, I would like to recommend Yes Please by Amy Poehler. Again, that's audibletrial.com/sleepingwithsarah. For more information, please check out sleepingwithsarah.com or follow me on Twitter at Sarah Albritton. Well, let's get started with the show. Welcome to Sleeping with Sarah. I'm Sarah Albritton. I'm here with my guest, Jonathan Giles.
Hey, what's up?
How'd you sleep last night, Jonathan?
I slept great last night. It was a long night, yeah. So I slept really, really good.
Yeah? How late of a night was it?
I think I got in around 3. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And just went straight to bed.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I guess you're on different time zones, so.
This is true. Well, I am on a different time zone. I should be more awake. I think I had one too many to drink yesterday.
One too many.
One too many. Which for me is one.
Are you lightweight?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Oh, well,
yeah,
really?
Yeah.
What, is it just because you don't like to drink, or?
I think, I just don't drink normally. So when I do have, because I'm visiting, so I hadn't seen friends in a while. And we all went out and we talked about Twin Peaks last night, which I've never seen.
I've never seen the show. I don't get those references.
Yeah, but one of our friends was really passionate. So we were like, yeah, let's just go with it. Yeah.
I think it's funny, how passionate people get. And they're like, I can't believe you've never done this thing or seen this thing.
You haven't seen Game of Thrones, what?
It's like, I can't, it's like saying that I can't believe you never breathed air before.
Yeah. Like I've breathed air. I know how that feels.
Yeah. But it's like, there's so many shows, you can't have time to watch all of them. There's no way.
Very true.
You know? But I do like Game of Thrones, so I do fuck with that.
It's
do
coming back
fuck
soon,
with Game of Thrones?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I'm excited about that. But and then they want to do a ton of spin-offs and shit, and I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like a good series is a good series, but like Breaking Bad, they seem to do well with their spin-off.
I haven't seen Better Call Saul, right? That's the only spin-off they have.
Yeah. They only have one. But the thing is that was a satisfying ending to the series.
Yeah. I like the idea of a show just ending.
Yeah.
Let's not have a spin-off. Let the show rest.
Maybe that's what it is. In the UK, it's typical for shows to run 2 seasons and that's it. Then they move on.
Yeah.
And the same with the Mexican soap operas. Okay. They do 2 seasons, about 2 or 3 seasons, and then it's over. And that's normal because I think our problem is we're trying to strive. And if you notice, most shows have their best seasons in the 2nd or 3rd season. I guarantee if you think about it. You know, and the shows that become popular after. Yeah,
they really hit their,
Arrested Development, you know. And then it's Community, their second...
Seinfeld's first season wasn't great.
You know, but the 2nd, 3rd season, those are really, and because we try to cram so much, that the quality kind of goes down.
That, and I think also people are trying to get to, a certain number of shows, because then that's when they actually start seeing residuals and all that. Well, but I think, networks are making it harder for shows to get to that now.
Well, and also it's a different thing because as an actor, you sign on when you go to the audition or the callback, whatever, you sign on your contract for 7 years.
Yeah.
You know, so if the show keeps going for 7 years, you got to be in it.
You got to be there. Yeah.
And so it's complicated because I think that shows would be a high quality if we only did a few seasons, you know? You look at, TJ Miller, who just bowed out of Silicon Valley.
Yeah, what? That's
Did you read
their fifth season, right?
Yeah, they're in their 4th season.
Yeah.
But he said that this is going to be his last season with them, which was, did you read that article?
I knew that he said this was going to be his last season. I didn't read the article.
So the article was really cool how he explained it.
Okay.
And he was talking about how he wants to do a lot of different things, but he even talked about himself. He's a good stand-up stand-up, but he wants to be a great stand-up. And in order to do that, he needs to focus on it.
Yeah.
And because he either couldn't focus and put enough time towards Silicon Valley or the other thing, you know. And so he's trying to do that, but he's spreading himself too thin, and he wants to be a really successful creative artist, you know.
Also, TJ, like, he can pop up now. He's got, like, the sort of street cred or the Hollywood cred to pop up in, like, in a good movie and make bank. Mm-hmm. Whereas, you know, I'm sure all the guys in Silicon Valley are making decent money, but it is, like, a longer stretch of shooting, whereas you might be able to go shoot Deadpool in 2 months and then be done.
Yeah.
Yeah, and make
or Mucinex commercials.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
But I just really respected, it was a very in-depth of what his decision was for it, and it was really interesting saying that, and he said very clearly he won't come back for a guest spot. He wants it to just end. Like you said, the show just end.
Yeah.
And I think that that's really cool that he can be like, all right, I've done what I want to. I've learned from this experience. I've learned what to with this character. I pushed this character as far as I think he can go. Yeah. And, you know, it's time. It was a good time in the way the script ends, I guess.
Yeah, it's a good show.
For him to, it's such a good show. I think that they should have more women on it. But other than that, but I did read the
black people.
I did read the original pilot though. The original pilot had a B storyline with these two women that were trying to go from LA to Silicon Valley to try to meet rich guys and hook up with them. And that was completely cut, which rightfully so. That would have been a horrible...
It seems to be like,
that would have been a horrible...
We need more women. Let's just make them whores.
Hey, you know, sugar babies.
Sugar babies. All right. I don't know, sugar babies. Is that the new whore, sugar baby?
I don't know what that... No.
That's probably not fair to the ladies who are sugar babies.
Sugar baby, I think, is the term for a woman who's like... who dates a rich guy that pays her bills.
Yeah.
I think that's what that is, right?
It is. I've looked into like how, so these women exist, right? So there's a market for that, right?
I guess there's like
if you want to break it down into like a bit, like it's a product, right? They're providing a service, right? And like it's just hanging out or whatever they want to do. I've looked up to like, how do you become a sugar daddy? And you have to have a lot of money. Yeah. Like you just can't be like, oh, I'll do this thing and like, no, you have to
have like $1 million.
You have to prove like your income. I think you have to make 6 figures, and the higher end of 6 figures, and you have to prove how much money you make with like W-2s and stuff like that.
What? They like vet them on the...
Oh yeah, I mean as they should, I think.
Why did you look... Wait, I'm just curious, why did you look into doing...
Oh, because LA is lonely as fuck.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Like Chicago's great. Like I know everyone here. And then like in LA I was like, you know what? I'd go out on a date with a stranger. Just like you can either be like, okay, I'm gonna go out on a date with a stranger via like Bumble or Tinder, or I'm just gonna go on a date with a stranger through this thing. Yeah. What's the difference?
Well, and I guess the thing is that with the other thing, I guess there might be more interested, or I don't know, maybe they're more interesting people. Maybe they have to have like a certain level of skills to be that. Like, do you have to speak multiple languages? Do you have to be well traveled?
To be a sugar baby?
Yeah, like maybe there's certain, maybe it's more than just looks, you know? Maybe it has to be, you have to be a good because you ever been on a date with someone and the conversation just lags, or it's they don't ask any questions, they're not invested, and you're like, I am doing 80% of the work in this conversation. But like someone like that, maybe that's their... I don't know. I just... I read an article about a woman who's traveled to like 30-something countries doing the sugar baby thing. And she just... I came up on my feed today and I just read that. So that was in my mind.
I know a couple of people who've done it.
Yeah.
They... Positive experiences.
No.
I think I did a show. Who was I hanging with? I was in a show in Indiana, and after the show, a couple girls were like, "Hey, let's hang out. Let's have drinks." And so we're just hanging out, and it came up in our conversation that they both do it. And one of the girls was like, "I don't sleep with guys." She goes, "Actually, I only go out with them once." And the other one was like, "Whatever."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it'd be different, like, if you went out and, like, the person was attractive and you'd sleep with them anyways. Then,
yeah, I mean, that's what it... Like, if you really want to compare it to the same thing as, like, online apps, I feel like it's sort of the same thing. Except with sugar babies, I think the intent is that, you're also willing to not only show them a good time, like, sort of a high-level good time, but also, like, provide for them in some way with, like, expenses and stuff like that, so...
That's interesting. Yeah. But, like, that's, like... I don't know. That's an interesting way of income, you know.
It is an interesting way of income.
Like you're getting paid to date. Getting paid to date.
It's a lot better than not getting paid to do comedy, though.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, I just read that and I was like, oh, that's interesting because I haven't traveled in a while because I've been trying to save up money for stuff, and I'm like, no, I wouldn't. I don't think I'd do that. But I've been like, I travel on a budget. Like I go to hostels, I use couch surfing, like, and I have fun with that. I don't think I'd enjoy. I mean, maybe I would. Maybe it would be better. In my mind, I'm like, I don't think I'd enjoy Europe in a hotel, but I know I would. But but the hostel experience is kind of fun because you get to know people and you get maybe some people that have more of a local underground feel of it.
So you wouldn't let like an old dude take you like on an all paid expense trip to?
Depends on if I actually enjoy his company.
Okay, yeah, I think that's a big part of it.
Like if it was somebody that was like. It'd be different. Like if it was someone I was already friends with, like let's say one of my close friends ends up blowing up or whatever, and they're like, "Hey, you want to hang out? Let's go to this trip."
Yeah.
Somebody I already know, I already feel comfortable with. I'm not gonna like. I don't think this friend's gonna expect me to sleep with them. They just have money and they're like, "Hey, let's celebrate. Let's go on a trip."
Yeah.
It'd be more like that. Someone I've known
for a while,
not somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not some just random guy in his 60s.
I don't think I could do that. No. Yeah. But if it's somebody I've known for a while and they just happen to be successful, I'd be, you can pay for my trip. That's
Have you ever had a friend pay for your trip before?
I have. That was a group of girlfriends. So one of my good friends at the time, her husband is a very, very high-end lawyer.
Okay.
And he got a very, very big deal where they got millions of dollars. Yeah. And so he gave her like $15,000 and he's like, hey, take your friends on a vacation.
Oh,
and
nice.
So we all went on a vacation.
What about like a single guy? Have you ever had like a single guy be like, hey, I want to fly you out here?
Oh, I've had people say that to me, and that's kind of like, I've had guys tell me that on dates. Like I had one guy that was like, hey, I want to take you to Spain. I'm like, that's a weird thing to say on our first date.
Yeah.
You know, like I felt like that kind of was a weird thing.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like, if it was for a purpose or like if it was something like, I don't know, it's just, that's a weird thing.
Yeah, I've had female friends who have like gone to LA under the auspice of I'm just gonna fly you out here, come hang out, and then get put in a situation where they felt like, I flew you out here, we definitely are hooking up.
Oh yeah, that's weird. I have done a situation, this was several years ago, where I had a friend who lived in Vancouver, and he was like, oh, you should come out, and so I got a real cheap plane ticket, but like I stayed with him, and he paid for my food and stuff, but he was somebody I already hooked up with. And
so that was already like done, and
that was already like, that's the reason I was going. I mean, not that's the only reason, but
well, we know.
But no, I've never.
It's Vancouver. There's
I don't think I've never really done that. I've never had a guy like go shopping for me or any of that stuff. You know, like I've never done that sort of thing at all. I don't know if that. I think that would make me feel uncomfortable. Like unless it was like for a thing. Like if it's like, hey, I want to take you to the Emmys. I'll buy you a dress to go to the Emmys. Yeah, I'll do that. Yeah. Like, that's different.
Yeah, for sure.
But maybe it's just because I haven't dated somebody at that level of success yet, you know?
You gotta step your game up.
I don't know.
Stop dating losers.
Well, I mean, I spend all my time with comics, so, what do I expect? No, actually, I recently met somebody, so I don't know. We'll see. He's like a man, like an adult. He's got his shit together. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So we'll see. I don't know. Like, who knows? I
like how you said he's a man. Like that means you've dated a lot of boys.
Oh yeah, I have. I have dated so many boys, and boys. There are so many boys I know that are still like 35. They're still boys.
Yeah, for sure. Like, do you find yourself playing like a mother role to?
No, God, no. I'm not that. I'm not that person. No. It's just they don't. There's certain things that they just don't know. There's just certain things that.
Get into it. I can see past those eyes. They don't know certain things.
I mean,
let's talk about it.
Okay, yeah. There's just certain things in terms of subtlety they don't get. There's a lot of things that they need to be more mature about or understand, you know, like, hey, you know, like I let people know up front, like I'm very upfront about shit, you know, like I don't get passive aggressive. I'm like, hey, like if you stay over, if we're hooking up, you're staying the night. That's the way that works, you know, because I gotta have my morning sex, but, but like, and it's other weird things like guys that are guys that are weirded out about having sex on a period. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, seriously?
What's your? Do you tell a guy like, hey, I'm on my period? Do you?
Of course, I let them know.
You let them know.
Yeah.
I don't want to know. I'm not opposed to period sex. I just don't want to know. Like, I'll know. Like, once we get into it, like, keep me from going down on you. But like, I don't make I don't want an announcement at dinner.
No, I don't do it that way. I'm more subtle. I'm more like, you know, I'm more like, hey, I'm a little light right now.
Okay.
Or something like that. Like, I'm not going to say something that's going to turn off the mood.
You have, like, a code word that you...
Nah, not
you're like Mike Pence, and people know, like, oh, yeah, she's on her period. Yeah.
No, there's not exactly a code word. It's just, like, I mean, like, if I date... Like, when I was in a serious relationship, then, like, we knew, and it's like, hey, have you had it yet? It's more of a different, like...
It's a different question.
It's a different question.
Yeah. Like, whenever you're in a relationship with someone and they tell you they get their period, there's like a little dance of joy.
Yeah,
for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's that. But no, I just, it's just like to give people a heads up, you know, because that's just a weird thing, you know, like, it's not that weird, but it's like, usually I like to give people a heads up about it, yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't think it's a natural thing. I don't know why people freak out about it.
I don't know why either.
But yeah, I'm weird in that way. Like, I kind of just want to go with it. I don't, even if you weren't on your period, I don't want any sort of announcement. Mm-hmm. I want everything to be so spontaneous. Like, so, like, with someone being on their period, I'm like, all right, well, we got to go get a towel. We got to go do this. Like, I think, like, everything with sex is best when everything is just so in the moment. Mm-hmm. Because now, like, if I get told, like, even in a subtle way, like, we're at dinner at the Olive Garden.
Which apparently millennials are killing Olive Gardens and Red Lobsters and, like, fast casual places.
Yeah. And, you know, and you are like, hey, I'm a little light. Now I'm thinking about it. I'm like, oh, she wants to have sex tonight. I mean, I wanted to have sex too, but now what? Like, what? Like, now I'm already...
The thing is, it's not that hard.
I'm already analyzing everything, whereas, like, oh, we could have just had sex, and then in the middle of, like, getting ready, like, be like, oh, yeah, you're on your period. Okay, let me go run and grab a towel real quick.
Well, that's basically what that's like usually right before. So it's not like that. Yeah, I'm not like...
You don't send like an email.
No, God, no, that's weird.
You know, we're scheduled for sex on the 23rd.
Oh, God, no. I think that's... If it gets to the point where you're scheduling sex, either you're both super type A or like there's just something missing there.
Yeah.
Like that's a problem. Like... and I'm a busy person, but I'll always make time for sex. Like, if it's good, like I will always make time, make time for the right person kind of thing. You know, like, that's just the way it is. But yeah, I think sex is super important in a relationship for sure. But it is weird when you're not, like, in something serious because it's like, I don't know, like, sex isn't as, and even for women, like, I know people think, oh, you're a girl, you can have sex whenever you want. Yeah, but not with someone
That's not necessarily true.
Yeah, and it's not with someone I like or vetted or...
I mean, because there's, like, physical things that happen with your body where you're like, no, like you may mentally be like, yeah, I want to have sex, but your body be like, nah, we're okay.
Yeah.
I feel like the same thing happens for guys. Like, when you get, like, guys tell us, like, I can't get it up. Like, they want to have sex. Like, I've been there before. And you'd be like, everything's not working. And then... And
when that happens, guys... You should be going down on the girl or making up for it some way. That's what I think. But that's just, you know.
Was your family, like, would you say, like, you grew up in a very, like, this is going to sound weird, sexual family? Like, were your parents or your family, like, affectionate?
My parents are very affectionate. Okay. They are so in love. And I mean, like, as a kid, I didn't, like, realize that. But but they're very affectionate. They're still so in love. Like, they still flirt with each other. They definitely, like, still have sex, which is weird to think about. But it's, like, when I was a kid, there would just be different things that they would do. Like, they had, like, Sunday afternoons, they would have a bath time where we were supposed to leave them alone, and they had, like, a little jacuzzi.
Sexy time.
Yeah, and so, but I didn't know that. I was 7. I didn't know what that was, you know? And it was just like, hey, only... let us know if it's an emergency. I didn't know. Did you?
Yeah, let us know. Have you ever, like, walked in on them? Or?
No, I don't think so. They were always very private. So even, like, they had a rule, which I think if I ever have kids, I would do that too. They never let us in their bed. They had a love seat. So if we were ever sick or something, we always slept on the love seat. We never slept on their bed. That was like a different zone. So like they kept that boundary, which I think a lot of parents don't, and then they end up having their kids wake them up every morning in their bed, you know, and they would lock their doors. Sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know if my parents had... We weren't allowed in my parents' room.
Oh, so your parents were definitely getting it on.
Yeah, maybe. I don't... But my parents were never... They were never really affectionate in front of us.
Mm.
But I remember... I don't remember this. My parents have told me the stories. Like, when I was, like, I don't know, 3 or 4. Like, I would want to be near my parents... So, like, I would sleep outside their door.
Oh, God.
Like a labradoodle. like a puppy. Just like I wanted to be as close to them as possible. But, no, you're in there fucking. I guess I can't do that right now.
It's just you don't know that as a kid.
Yeah.
But I think, I guess for, having those boundaries and knowing it. But they always did things like, we would take one trip a year as a family, and then they'd always take a trip by themselves every year.
Oh, nice.
So then they'd have their own shit, you know? Yeah. So I think, because I think they really go about, the way they parented, and I think they did a very good job, I'm very fortunate, is that they put their relationship kind of, it was important. First. It kind of came first. I mean, we still were very, very high up on the list. No, yeah. But, a family unit doesn't work without that relationship working.
Yeah, it's almost like they couldn't be good parents if they didn't love each other. Yeah. Where would you... Oh, go ahead.
And, I was going to say, and they didn't change when they decided to have kids, they decided not to change their lifestyle. They still went and they took that they wanted to go to a nice meal. They took us out with them. Yeah. And we learned at a very young age how to behave at nice restaurants.
When you guys would go on vacation, 1 hotel room, 2 hotel rooms?
Oh. Ooh. Usually... Oh, that's a good question. I'm trying to remember when we were young. Definitely, I think we had ones where they would have like a suite and then be connected. And then
there's like a door in between.
Yeah. Because it's me and my brother.
You and your brother. Okay. Is he older?
Younger.
Younger. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but it would be, that's what it would be. And, it wasn't, and then we do a lot of vacations with my mom's sister too. Yeah. And her husband and their kids.
Where did you guys go on vacation?
We did a lot of trips driving across the country. Okay. We drove to Colorado one summer from Louisville, Kentucky.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that where you're from?
Yeah, Louisville.
Oh, you're a Southerner.
Yeah, well, It's so weird because some people consider Kentucky Southern, some people don't.
I consider it by the Southeastern Conference for football. It's a part of the SEC. So
the thing is that basketball changes it up all the time when you're talking about college basketball.
Yeah, but they've been part of the SEC for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't have to talk about sports. I know it's super boring. I was trying to tell...
So is that for the college? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Do your parents listen to your podcast?
Sometimes,
yeah.
I try to give them a warning on ones not to listen to, like when where I was talking about squirting or something. And I'm hey, don't listen to this one.
Don't listen to this one. Yeah, maybe they I don't know. I think they should listen to hear about how you perceive their relationship.
Oh, they've heard some of that stuff for sure. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Because
it sounds like a lovely relationship, Mom and Dad.
They do because it kind of puts the bar high because I've seen what real love is, and I grew up in a house. I grew up in a house where 2 parents really loved each other. That's true love. That's really it. And so the bar for me, it's hard because it's if I don't feel that, then why, there's no, it's seeing that, I dated a guy for a long time where his parents didn't have that kind of relationship.
Yeah.
And observing their relationship versus my parents, I was oh, I can't have anything less than what they have.
Yeah. I would probably put I don't know who you dated and how severe his parents, but my parents I can't remember signs of affection in front of us.
But just because they didn't have it in front of you doesn't mean...
You're absolutely right.
Because culturally, I don't know if they're religious at all, that could have...
Yeah, that might have been part of it. No, I totally agree. Obviously, they were affectionate at least once with each other. So,
Were you the only child?
I have an older brother, but from a different relationship. So, but yeah, my parents love each other. They've been married for 33 years. So
my parents have been married for almost that too.
Yeah, and they're still together. But I think about that sometimes, when I'm in a relationship, because you can sense, especially if there's cultural differences, whether it's religion or where they're from or how they grew up. You're you have to sort of be mindful of how someone wants to be shown affection, even if because a lot of times I want to default I didn't grow up with that, I don't know how to do that. That's not necessarily the right answer all the time. You always have to kind of meet the person in the middle.
Yeah, I've had some people that are very PDA and that throws me off, but then some people I realize like this guy that I met, I didn't care. He kissed me in the street on North Avenue. I was I don't
North
care.
Avenue kiss.
I know, gosh, so silly. But I didn't care. But then there's other people. Well, maybe it's also because he's not in comedy, so then that's different too.
Yeah.
Like, you know.
How are you enjoying that, being in a relationship that's...
I'm not in a relationship. It's not...
Oh, okay.
I don't know what I am. By the time this airs, maybe I will.
Yeah.
But...
well, he's like, don't talk about me on your podcast. Please.
No, I had to tell him. I was like, hey, don't listen to my podcast because I want you to get to know me, like, in person with me. But no, I like him. It's the first time in a while that I've met somebody that I feel like I connect with strongly in that way, and I like... which makes you feel bad for other people that might be listening, and but they
know who they are. They know that their relationship didn't work out. Don't feel bad for them.
I know. I know. I don't like hurting people. That's the big thing with me. I don't like hurting people. Yeah,
but sometimes you gotta be like relationships and all this stuff and emotions. Like, so okay, here's a thought I've had. Are you a religious or non-religious person?
Non-religious.
Non-religious. Like, completely, like, there is no chance there's a higher being?
Oh, no, I believe the possibility of higher beings, but I believe that there's just as much a possibility of the Norse or Greek mythology as there is Christianity.
Cool.
So that's the level I'm at. I believe that there's something, or great gods, but I feel like Norse and Greek are way more interesting stories, and I think that they're just as valid as Christianity.
For sure, yeah. So here's the point I'm trying to get to. I think when it comes to love, right, and the emotions and the hurt and the pain and the joy and all that stuff that we get, like, for me, that's evidence of something, and I'll say God, right? I think like if that all that could be attained to like a chemical imbalance in chemistry, then we would just all medicate ourselves to make ourselves in love all the time. Like,
some people do that with cocaine and meth.
And people would figure that out, and they would figure out, like, that would be, like, the number one selling drug on the market right now. So I just feel like those emotions and those feelings kind of point to something else beyond just E equals MC squared. Yeah. Have
you ever been in love?
I have been in love, yeah. Yeah. It's fun. It's challenging. I think that's kind of where I kind of get this theory from. Like, these things make you, like, love make you want to be a better person than you are. It makes you question things about yourself. Whereas, like, when you're doing things for yourself and on your own, it's just selfish and it's me. Mm-hmm. But then there's times when you're like, and so Melissa Rochelle is one of our comic friends. So I was having a conversation with her about comedy and whether you should be single or not. And the advice I had gave her at the time, I was in a relationship at the time. I was like, stay as single as you can, as long as you can, as long as you want to, because you have complete freedom to do whatever you want, to whether it's be out at Mike's all night or to decide you want to pick up and move. And anyway, so while I was telling her that, my phone, I hate the iPhone. They have this new recorder thing sometimes. Do you have an iPhone?
I have a Pixel. So
okay. No. So, like, sometimes, like, it will just, I don't know if I hit a button, but I recorded all that and sent it to the person who I was dating.
Oh, no.
And it was the worst.
Oh, my God.
To say I was in the doghouse for a little while. And I was trying to explain to this person, I think she forgave me eventually, but I wasn't saying that...
It's not saying that you don't want the relationship. It's just saying
you understand.
That
you have to make sacrifices.
Yeah, and I think if you date someone that's in the industry or an adjacent industry, then they might understand. Music or
for sure.
Or something that gets it. But it is really hard to date someone that's not at all in that world because there's a jealousy aspect. Like, they have to be very secure with themselves. Like, because it's like, oh, I spend a lot of time with my guy friends, and I'll hang out with them, smoke weed till 3 a.m. on a Wednesday night, and that's no big deal. You have to be cool with that, And I've definitely dated guys that were not cool, that tried to be cool with it, but then really weren't cool with it, and it's just like.
So you dated guys who were trying to wife you up?
Yeah, I have.
And I'm sure, like...
there's definitely a couple guys, I was like, if I dated this guy for 6 more months, he would propose. Like, you can tell. And, like I said, it'd be different if I felt that thing for them, but these are not the guys. Like, I didn't feel that thing for them.
But 9th Avenue, maybe.
So we were talking about relationships and doing... So you're not in a relationship right now.
No.
And I've heard mostly from, like, that LA is hard to find people. Is it because you think everyone is so focused on themselves and their careers that they don't want to have the relationship, like you were saying?
I don't know if it's that. I think it's a little bit... Yeah, I think maybe people are busy. But LA is just spread out. So, like, even just being back here in Chicago for one night, like I just ran into so many people that I knew, and like trying to like catch up with them was nice. I feel like in LA, like it's such a sprawling city. Mm-hmm. Like you can see, like in Chicago, you could probably see the same comic easily 3 or 4 times a week, right? Uh-huh. In LA, if you see that same comic once every 3 weeks, like that's
shit.
Yeah, so I think you have to be very, very intentional just to spend time with people.
Oh wow!
And some people are good at that. I personally am not good at like hanging out after shows and stuff like that. So I can see if people are kind of like always on the move, it could be difficult to settle down and find someone you want to go out with. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I guess what you mean. I get what you mean. But yeah, But so dating was easier in Chicago.
Dating was for sure easier in Chicago. I mean, I've only been in LA like almost 5 months now, and I also am not the type of person, at least I haven't been in the past, someone looking for it. Right? Some people like go out looking for a relationship. I think like
I don't like doing that.
Yeah, like the whole spontaneity thing. Like once again, for me, that's what makes it fun. Like you kind of just you have this connection with someone that it sort of happened randomly. So this is like I've always like even in college, like whenever like my guy friends we would go out and like there would be every night there'd be like one guy's like we gotta get laid tonight, and I'm like oh yeah, the moment you say that it's not gonna happen because like people can smell it on you.
Yeah, it's just you can sense a desperation on somebody, and you can also sense the confidence, and the confidence is so sexy. Yeah, when somebody's got that confidence and they're just they've got that, then you're like damn, like that. I don't know how to explain it, but it's so ingratiating. It's so fucking charming.
Yeah, thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. No.
When somebody's got that. But that's also why I think, like, when at least with male stand-ups, when they get off stage, that they've got, and they crush it, then a lot of women in the audience, like, that can be a thing,
want to come talk to them. Yeah, I think women, especially, I mean, I've gone out with people who have seen me at shows, and I think they like that and the idea of, like, someone who can make me laugh. And then, like...
They like the idea of it.
They like the idea of it. And I'm, like, a sort of a different person one-on-one. And I actually remember, like, I went on a date here in Chicago, and the girl was, like... Towards the end of the date, I was just sort of like, hey, are you having a good time? And she literally just said, I figured you would be funnier on our date. And I was like, yeah, I'm not working right now.
And I think I've gotten that impression. But guys are a bit more aggressive with it, too. Like, and sometimes not in a good way. So sometimes it'll be like, oh, like, you're funny. You're supposed to be real funny, right? Like, and it's just kind of like, or they'll try to be funny on the date.
Got it.
And then
they're overcompensating.
It's this weird almost competition level. Because the thing is that guys have always used comedy as a way to get past the looks thing. Like, hey, it might not be that good looking, but I'm charming and I'm funny, and then I could still get the girl.
That's why I'm doing comedy. Cool.
I'm not saying everybody does it, but I know a lot of guys that's why they got it.
I mean, I think most of us have some level of insecurity. Well, I mean, even like the idea of like most comics, and not all comics, some people were the class clown, but most people were like the person who had something to say, but never had the ability or knew how to like be the one who spoke up. Mm-hmm. So like stand up allows us to speak up because now we have 10 minutes, we have 20 minutes or whatever where people have to listen to us. Yeah.
And we're sharing our point of view. Yeah. And that's like really cool.
I think that's why some comics get mad when they get heckled. Like they don't know how, because like, this is my time. Like they don't really see it as like a joint thing. Like when I perform, I like the idea of like, we're all into this. Like the audience, you're here as much as I am.
Have you ever melted down? Like, have you ever had a meltdown, like, for a heckler, or how do you usually handle it?
I don't. I mean, so I would say I don't get mean heckles. I've had people speak up during my sets because I said something that sparked their attention, and usually I love it when that happens because if I said something interesting enough that made you want to comment, I'm like, oh, let's see where this goes. Let's play with this. Let's have fun with this. I haven't had a meltdown. Fortunately, no one's been like, you suck, or anything like that. Not yet. Yeah. Who knows? There's always time. What about you?
I haven't gotten that many heckles. I think when I was in my first year, at the Abbey, I had there was a really drunk guy, and I remember it was my first time. I was 6 months. It was I was early, and it was the first time I got a heckle, and I was like, I think I said something that worked off the cuff, but I wasn't at that confidence level.
Sure,
but it wasn't that bad. It was just hey, why don't you get a drink? It wasn't that funny. It was why don't you get yourself a drink of water because clearly you need it. And then I tried to move on and just ignore it. My set usually doesn't get a lot of heckling. I think a lot because people are kind of fascinated by the narcolepsy and they're kind of interested in that, and they're kind of that. So they're kind of they want to hear more. They're interested, so they're quiet,
So we've had this conversation before, you and I, about the narcolepsy and things like that. Are you starting to see I don't want to say fans or a following, but are you starting to see people kind of gravitate towards you around the subject?
Yeah, absolutely. People will always talk to me after shows about it. If it's a bigger show, more than 75 people, there'll definitely be someone who comes up to me and it's hey, my friend has narcolepsy, my son has narcolepsy, I might have it. And so that feels really awesome. And then because of the web series I've been working on, I'm getting private messages from people in the narcolepsy community that are really supportive of me creating a comedy show that might bring awareness, which is good, but it also feels a little bit of pressure because it's it has to be good, it will be good. It's a good show. I'm very excited about it. I think it definitely will be good, but it's also...
But now there's also a group of people who are is she going to capture our voice?
Well, because the thing is, and I've talked about this because I have an Indiegogo going on right now, and we talk about that Jimmy Kimmel, he has narcolepsy, but he doesn't want to be a spokesperson for it.
Sure.
And that's fine. He doesn't have cataplexy, which is, I have that. Okay. That's where you fall to the ground.
Oh, okay.
He doesn't have that, so I understand why he might not want to be a spokesperson for it or outspoken about it, but there's other things narcolepsy was brought up in Modern Family. There's one episode where Phil has narcolepsy, and then it's never brought up again.
Yeah.
Ever. Yeah. And, that's so unrealistic. And by having a character that has it regularly, and you can see what the realism is.
Yeah.
So the falling down, it doesn't just happen, outright. It happens if I'm really surprised, if I'm really emotional. I've done it where I've laughed so much where it happens, or a lot of it's surprise. If something happened, I didn't expect it, it can happen. But it could also be if I was really mad, I've had it.
So you don't go to haunted houses?
Well, no, I can't. I go to haunted houses,
okay.
But I know so many people that have been involved in them. I always think in my head about how that's being done.
Got it.
So it's not. It doesn't happen that much comparatively to high school. So it used to happen 3 times a day.
Really?
Now it happens once a month.
Did you have a cool nickname in high school?
No, they didn't.
Sleepy Sarah.
No, I did not.
People in high school were pretty chill about it.
No, it was a weird thing. I didn't know for the first 2 years. So I was sleeping all the time, and I had teachers that would spray me in the face with a bottle of water.
Like a dog? Jesus.
Yeah, some fucked up shit.
All right, Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah, public school in Louisville. Yeah, that's how they... And the people that would assume I was lazy, which is, I think, why people always tell me, oh, you're doing so much. I think that's why I try to do so much, because I don't ever want people to think that I'm lazy.
Perceived as a lazy person.
Yeah, because I'm not. I'm definitely not a lazy person.
Yeah, no, you got a lot of stuff going on.
But I think it's me trying to prove, and in that way, I have the character... the narcoleptic superhero trying to prove that she's not lazy. That's her set-off word. That's her, Marty McFly, the yellow, the chicken, that's her thing. Being called lazy is what sets her off. So it's trying to go beyond that and not just being defined by that. Because even though I'm using that as a way to share my point of view and perspective, I don't want to just be known as the narcoleptic comedian.
Yeah, no, I totally get that.
Because I talk a lot about relationships, and that's really something that interests me, relationships and how people act the way they do.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know, what about you? How do you pick your topics for what you, do you feel like you gravitate around one thing?
Yeah, I don't know. I spend a lot of time, I think when I am dating, I'm just an awkward person. I think I talk about the things that make me awkward. That's really what it comes down to.
You don't seem that awkward. I'm
awkward as fuck. Yeah, I mean, I put up a good front, I guess.
Or maybe just we're all awkward. I'm awkward too as a comedian. I'm very awkward sometimes, and usually I don't know why. It's I think a lot of comedians are, and so it's maybe we're more accepting of it. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, most things make me uncomfortable. if there was like I love like sort of like one-on-one conversations like this.
Yeah.
But if there was more than 4 people here,
Mm-hmm.
I tend to like just not talk. So I sort of like shy away from like big groups. But I mean, in terms of what I like writing about, you know, I think once again, kind of going back to that sort of scenario of like, oh, I had opinions about things when I was younger or like in school. Like now I have an opportunity to kind of express those. Like I like kind of going back and thinking about like what, like even like the idea of like my parents didn't show affection to each other. So how has that really like impacted me? Like I like sort of thinking about those type of things and try to figure it out.
Oh, that's cool. Like,
yeah, I don't do a lot of political stuff, but I will every once in a while. Like if something I'm drawn to. Yeah,
I don't do a lot of political stuff in my stand-up, but I write some sketches for a weekly show that I'm in to do that. So that's kind of
that outlet.
Yeah, I mean, and sometimes I've been moved to say, but I just don't think I don't think that. Yeah, because I'm not sure if I don't think it comes across the right way when I'm trying it in stand-up. You know?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good thing to know about yourself, too. Like, because I think, especially now with, like, Facebook and everything, like, I see everyone trying to be funny around a topic, and I'm just like, stop.
And I think I've also avoided it because I don't want to have the same jokes as somebody. Because if you're doing topical humor, somebody across the country is going to have the same a very similar joke. Yeah. You know, same vein. Maybe not the exact same words, but very similar. And I've always been very paranoid about, like, somebody thinking I'm stealing somebody.
Sure, yeah. Your relationship and your life experiences, like, those are yours. No one else can own those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but, I mean... And also the political stuff, I feel so passionate about it that if somebody did it would almost be too much, you know?
I think, but I guess even when you do it though, and I think that's kind of cool, like, you know, sketch might be an outlet or, you know, another platform to get your point across.
Or even just Twitter, you know, like, I mean, you know,
you can still be opinionated
yeah.
about what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, but that's kind of the way, I feel. And I do feel strongly about some things, clearly the healthcare and that sort of stuff, but... That's why, like, LA, I'm glad that they might pass the single payer thing. That's exciting, you know? So,
I don't know how I feel about healthcare.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you have it?
I do. And maybe that's why, like, I don't... Because
you have it through a job.
I have it through my job. There's so many things that, like, I'm not blissfully ignorant. Like, I'm not saying, like, well, it doesn't hurt me if I don't know it. A lot of times I tend not to educate myself on a lot of things. And, like with healthcare, like, I don't know how much energy I have to worry about healthcare. Like, I have, like, one set of sheets for my bed. Like, I'm probably that boy that you're talking about that hasn't grown up yet. Like, there's a lot of
I have a question.
Things,
Does your bed sit on the ground, or do you have
I have a bed frame.
See, that's at least one step up,
it's a step in the right
direction. Do you have a nightstand?
It's a step towards manhood. I do have a nightstand.
Okay, see, these are good steps.
I have a desk in my room.
Okay.
Let's see.
Well, those are all good. But the healthcare thing, I think it's just people that really affects.
Superhero posters everywhere.
But are they sticky tacked to the wall, or are they framed?
Oh, they're definitely pinned up with, like, the thumbtack.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well...
We need to get them framed. We'll be okay, right?
Yeah, if you got them framed, you know, then that's more of a... So there's the difference, you know?
There's something about a superhero poster that is a mood killer if you bring a girl home.
Oh, yeah?
She's like, oh, this is what you're really about.
Is it signed?
It's not signed. No, I don't have anything signed. But only because I haven't met any of those people.
But you don't go to Comic-Cons to get shit signed, or...
I don't go to get shit signed. Do I go? Yes. Comic-Cons are the best.
But I thought nerd culture was coming up more, so that people are still surprised or weirded out by superhero...
I don't think they're necessarily weirded out. I've had, like, some female friends tell me, stop taking girls to superhero movies on dates.
Ah.
They're like, first of all, a movie is hard to say a movie's a date. But second of all, if you're going to take someone to go see Avengers or Star Wars, all they're thinking about during the movie is how do they get out of this date.
Oh, well, no, not that. I mean, it depends.
There's
on lots of people.
Yeah.
I mean, like, honestly, I saw Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Good movie.
And I really want to see Wonder Woman, but I haven't seen it yet, and I want to go see that. But honestly, but now there's more humor in the scripts.
Have you seen Logan?
I haven't yet.
Logan is so good.
It's on my list of things to see.
Logan could stand alone. Like, if it wasn't Wolverine and these people with superhero powers and they just told the story of Logan by itself, that's how great of a movie that movie is.
That's good.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that the only thing is that we're so inundated with so much superhero. True. And I know I'm saying that when I am personally putting out a fucking superhero thing, but... Let
me ask you this. Do you, like, when you go watch a movie, do you watch a movie that's, let's say, character-driven? For example, Inception with Leonardo DiCaprio? Or do you prefer to go watch a movie that's story-driven? Maybe I don't know if you like Twilight, but like there's books or Harry Potter, like you're familiar with the story.
Harry Potter a lot, but that's just like a personal thing to me. Like I've got a special place in my heart for Harry Potter. I'm a nerd about that. Yes, I've read all the books. Yes, I've read the play. Yes, I would love to go see the play. That's something I might even be worthy if someone's like, hey, I'll fly you out to New York if you want to hang out and we'll see the Harry Potter play.
Hang out.
Yeah. well, maybe not.
All right.
But
you wouldn't go that far for Harry Potter play.
Nah.
A little over the Gene action during the intermission, maybe.
Hand holding.
Well.
No. But
during the final act, just like you feel someone's hand reach over. Voldemort is like getting ready to kill Harry Potter.
No, it's no.
Are you holding my hand right now?
I mean, it's both. You know, I like Star Wars. I really do. I like what they've been doing with these new areas of storytelling and how they're telling that story. I think they're taking the time to tell it well.
Star Wars is doing a good job. Yeah.
Yeah. They really are. And the world that they're creating. There's some things, I mean, I like both. To be honest, because I'm really focused on TV right now, because that's what I want to write for. Mm-hmm. So I watch a lot of TV pilots, a lot of different things.
What's a pilot you watched recently, like, you're like, oh, that was good? Because I watch a lot, too. So
I am very critical. You know what I thought was interesting? Santa Clarita Diet. I thought that was different.
All right.
I thought that was different. That stood out to me as being different. And I ended up watching all of that, which was good. Pilots are so hard for me because I watch a lot of pilots and some of them I'm like, that could be better, you know. But I'm really fascinated with these half-hour comedies that are also you want to know what happens next. So like Silicon Valley or Veep or something like that, where it's like it's not exactly like a lot of the drama ones. You like want to see what happens because you got to know what happens, but it's like you're mixing comedy with that. I think that's so good and so interesting to watch.
Yeah, Veep is. I just discovered Veep not too long ago.
Oh my gosh! Actually, a friend I went to school with, Mary Holland. She plays a recurring role in this current season, which is cool.
They're in season 6. Mm-hmm. I'm on season 4, so
you're moving up.
What character is she?
She plays. This is not giving anything away. I don't think she plays Jonah Ryan's love interest.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
so I'll look out for her.
Yeah, she's great. She's great.
I know someone that knows that person. Well,
she's also done. She was also in an episode of Silicon Valley in the first season. She's done a lot of stuff, and she was in. She's been in Mike and Dave Need Wedding Day. She's been in a few movies, and she's been doing. She's been like doing real well. She does a lot of sketch and character stuff. She's been out in LA for like 10 years.
Nice, good for her.
Maybe not that long. I don't know how long she's been out there, but she's been out in LA, and things have been really good. She's hilarious, absolutely hilarious. But it's funny how we both went to school for like a serious theater Meisner school, and then
you went to a theater school.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I did.
How was that?
It was intense. That's why I do comedy. I was doing improv on the weekends. Like I would come up here on the weekends, IO and Second City and stuff, because it was so intense. It was like every drama. Like I would get killed or raped or died in a prison. Like I was a heroin addict.
I laughed at killed and then you said rape and I was like, oh shit.
I'm just saying, like, all my characters were so intense and that is emotionally draining.
You need it
it's good. But the thing is, the plays, you'd be in that character because it was school, so we do like two months of rehearsal and then like 6 weeks of show, so that's a lot longer than a normal movie would be or something else. So it's just a more intense thing. And I like comedy because you can be lighter about it. And I think comedy is a great way to create social change.
This is interesting. Yeah, I think it is a good way to introduce a subject or a conversation with people. I know I said earlier I don't do a lot of political stuff, but especially during the election, I like playing around with the idea, especially like here in Chicago. I think like most of the shows we do in the city, we know our audiences are pretty liberal.
Mm-hmm.
But I love playing with the idea of like going out to more like the suburban areas where
like Indiana, middle nowhere Indiana is very different.
Or even like if you just go up to like Libertyville, like there's a show in Libertyville that I love to do. It's a great room. But I remember I did this joke about like maybe Trump isn't all that bad. And like you could just see people lean in because they're like, yeah, I feel like he's not all that bad. And I've done shows where I've had, so speaking of heckling, I had one guy in the middle of the set. I forget what my joke was, but in the middle of the set, he goes, I'm tired of having to, what did he say? I'm tired of having to hide the fact that I voted for him. It was interesting. Yeah. And I remember reading, like, someone brought this up to me, the fact that this is probably one of the first elections where you didn't see a lot of people with bumper stickers or like those posters in their front yards, because either way, whether it was Trump or Hillary, like a lot of people weren't really proud of who they were going to vote for.
I voted for Hillary. Yeah. I thought that she was extremely qualified. I think that a lot of it honestly was a little bit of misogyny, you know?
Yeah.
And that's how I feel. I kind of feel that if she was a man, she would have won hands down. I like based on the qualifications, based on all that stuff, I think that it was just, you know, I think a lot of it had to do with misogyny.
Do you and
even women can be misogynistic. I'm not saying misogyny is only for men.
Yeah. Do you think, and like this is a weird question to ask,
I think if she was younger, then she might have won. I think if she was more I think if she was more attractive and younger.
Yeah. I mean, I understand where you're coming from, because even when Obama was in office, like I would see friends who like would post certain things about health reform, and like part of me was like, the only reason you feel negatively is because he's black. That may not be true, but that was just like where my first inclination would go. So
yeah, I mean, I feel that way. I definitely feel that way about her, because they want so many expectations of a woman, and that's the same thing you feel kind of, you know, as a comic. Like I know so many women that we think a lot about what we wear on stage. We don't want to be too sexy. We want to be relatable, but we don't, you know.
That's usually the first thing I'm thinking. Like, don't be too sexy, Jonathan. Yeah.
But like, we have to think about that, because if we wear a low cut shirt and our boobs are hanging out, people aren't going to be listening to our jokes. They're going to be looking at our boobs.
Yeah.
And so it's this weird balance. And so there is a lot I think women have to deal with in any industry, you know, about having that balance of what you can, and if you're in the public eye, comedy or politics.
Being a woman is definitely probably the most difficult thing. Like I know I think
being a black woman is probably the most difficult thing. I'm not, you know.
Yeah, I guess you could break it down to like different like races and stuff like that. But I think overall, like I mean, obviously it's men and women. But yeah, I think being a woman, like there's just a lot of things. Like I remember just talking to like family members about like that Hillary probably didn't get as fair of a shake. Or just me even like feeling bad for women almost. Because it was just another example of men getting what they want and women just sort of having to. And the way she conceded it was just so like, yeah, it was like you're like, part of me wanted her to be like, we're gonna ride this out. We're gonna wait and see what happens in the morning.
No, but the country was so divided. They needed a clear leader. They couldn't do what they did in 2000.
You think she did that because... No,
because it's the right thing to do.
Yeah, okay.
Because the thing is that when you're in a situation like this, the country is already so divided. You need a clear leader. You can't push it like in 2000. I think and I think she made the right choice. I think she would have made a lot better choices than what our current president is making. And I don't know if other people are realizing that, like, they might have thought Hillary was bad, but like Trump has put Goldman Sachs in their fucking cabinet, you know, and things like that. It's just like, it's so bad. Did you listen? We're turning this into your political podcast. Gosh. Did you listen to the Comey stuff yesterday? Parts of it, yeah. I know people who are having like watch parties. Yeah, it's a very weird thing. I mean, my problem is I think we need another party. I think we need something, because I think we're too divided. For sure, yeah. And if people are going to vote like Republicans until Democrats have power, I'm not sure if Republicans are going to unseat him. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna say something I don't know a lot about, but I do feel like a lot of other countries have multiple parties, and it's weird that we only have two. Yeah. Yeah. It's two strong ones. But the thing is, we don't have, the problem is that the only time other parties come up are election years, that we need to have people coming up in the ranks. We need to have people, I mean, honestly, Bernie was great, but he's not a fucking Democrat. He's an independent. Yeah. And he should have been able to get a seat as an independent, but because the way our system works, he had to go as a Democrat to be a senator. I think does that make sense? I know, I'm with you. I think all politicians should only be independent.
I think that's what happens with this election. I think the majority of people I talk to probably either way we're like we're not really on board with Trump. And a lot of people were like, we're not really on board with Hillary, but they just voted their party. Mm-hmm. So if Trump ran independently and Hillary ran independently, now you have to vote on them as sort of people, not so much, well, I'm a Republican and I'm conservative and, I believe in Christian values, or, I believe in a women's right to choose, and people were just voting their party as opposed to for the person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you on that, and I think that could be improved.
Yeah.
I think that takes a lot of structural difference, and I'm not sure that we're going to get there for anytime soon.
Or during this podcast, but maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, we run a little late, but all right, well, we'll wrap things up a little bit. I always ask people near the end of the podcast, I know we didn't talk about, your comedy as much, but what are your dreams for your future in the comedy?
Dreams? Oh, man. I don't know if black people are allowed to have dreams. Martin Luther King was the only one. We all share his dream. No, what are my dreams? Right now, I'm having a lot of fun where I'm at. And like I said, I just went to LA. So kind of just learning how that side of it works. But I don't have grand vision. I don't have visions of grandeur. I don't necessarily want to be a rock star. Mm-hmm. It doesn't play toward my personality. I went to an LA party and I went in there and I found a friend of mine and we sat in the corner and we made fun, we just talked and made fun of all the people at this LA party. So that was a sign for me okay, well, you're probably not going to aspire to have a Dave Chappelle or Kevin Hart-ish type of mm-hmm. career. I do want to be in a position where my point of view is heard and appreciated. One of my favorite comics right now, and I think this guy will end up being a rock star, but Gerard Carmichael mm-hmm. is my favorite comic right now. And so his ability to share his point of view on stage, regardless of whether people agree with it. Mm-hmm. And then what he's doing with the show on NBC, he continues to take his point of view and he's able to look at it from different angles and other people's perspective. I respect that, and to be able to do that is something, and to be able to do that for an audience that not only, I don't want to say they all have to think like me, but understand kind of where I come from, and then form your own opinion. I love conversations with people who don't agree with me. So
you seem like somebody that would be, you would actually listen and take and be thought.
I mean, I think that's part of it. I also have a podcast, and one of the guys, we talked about it kind of offline. Now I'm talking about it on someone else's podcast, but he's a little bit more woke than I am. Mm-hmm. And I'm you can't be woke all the time. Sometimes you gotta take a nap. Sometimes you just gotta just chill, and everything doesn't have to be march or rally worthy. Sometimes let's discuss things and figure out where the other side is coming mm-hmm. from. And I really enjoy this conversation. It doesn't mean you have to try to change people's opinions. Just to have an appreciation of where someone else is coming from, I think is really important.
Yeah, it is. Well, thank you so much for doing the podcast.
Thanks for having me. Man. This has been fun. Yeah.
Awesome. It's been great catching up with you and talking. So we always end the podcast by saying good night. So
good night.
Good night, everybody.
Oh, we're going to bed. Okay.
Thanks for listening to Sleeping with Sarah, where I slept with Jonathan Giles. You can follow Jonathan on Twitter at JGilesComedy, and be sure to check out his podcast, Blurs with Friends. This podcast is part of the Laugh Factory Podcast Network. Please remember to subscribe and rate and review on iTunes, iHeartRadio, and SoundCloud. We're brought to you by Audible.com. Please go to audibletrial.com/sleepingwithsarah. I'm releasing a new podcast each week. Be sure to tune in to find out who I have in bed with me next. Thanks to Josh Bryant for the music. You can find out more on sleepingwithsarah.com. And please follow me on Twitter at Sarah Albritton. Until next time, good night.